Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Are we live? Are we live?
We live, brother. We live.
Good deal, good deal. All right, we want to welcome everybody to the King and I Life podcast. Today we have a special guest, and I will let her introduce herself.
Hey, I'm Kiss Chanel. I'm coming from y'all all the way from the East Coast, from New Haven, Connecticut. And so I'm happy to be here today to bring you all another perspective and another voice. So I hope everybody's doing well.
That's
All
what's up.
right.
Whoop, whoop, see. Ah,
All right, we
that,
got
that was
some.
my that was my business voice, my little business voice.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
We got some announcements that we'll break later on in the show, but for right now, I'm gonna let King take over.
So today, very interesting day. Um, I guess the big highlight of today is the protest, the mob, or whatever you want to call it, that's going on. People taking over the Capitol. Um, it's definitely something that I wasn't prepared to see in my lifetime, but here we are. But I'm kind of speechless on this because, again, this is something that I did not expect to see in my lifetime, and it's something that I would have to say is very ironic because us as a culture, this is something that will probably hit us in a different way because we've been oppressed for so long and we had so many struggles and all types of things like that when it comes to voting and equal rights and everything. So for this to be happening, it's beyond ironic for me. So I mean, what do y'all have on it?
I look at it as fear, right? So initially, they didn't think we were going to go out and vote. And what I mean by we, people that look like me and you, right? They didn't think we were going to go out and vote and probably given that false perception for many, many years for whatever reason. And so this year, people went out in numbers, right? And so now that brings fear. It brings fear that we're voting, we're speaking up to the point now they're quite angry. Now you have to think about it too. If we were out there climbing on the federal building, would we still be alive?
Right. It's another thing.
I say hell no. Um, my perspective on it is, again, I'm sure for all of you who have heard our podcast on the voting deal, how what my stance is. For those of you who haven't, I didn't vote this past election, and I had my own reasons. Um, again, my thing was I didn't like either one of the candidates, and another thing about it is I don't feel like no matter which direction we vote in, we still don't see change for our people. Um, this whole thing that's going down right here today, that is it feels crazy to me, and I mean crazy like are we in a movie right now? Type of crazy. Because I again agree with King. I never thought in my lifetime I would see a situation where our White House was basically
Capital.
under or Capitol, thank you, is going through some real changes right now. Not the type we want to see. Um, I think this is a time for the people themselves to really see what's going on and not just believe in the news because the news I don't feel is going to give you the true story of what's going on. If you are in the Washington area or the nearby areas, I definitely um, encourage you to investigate a little bit closer than just staying at home and watching the news. And again, being safe about it. Don't put yourself in any harm's way. But in order to have the truth, I think you'll believe it a little bit more if you see it with your own two eyes and not just take the press word for it.
How much truth do you need to see though with them climbing the buildings?
Again, this
Because
is
I don't want none of my people. I don't want none of my peoples. I mean, I was doing phone calls today. Like, wait a minute. I have a little crew that's still in Maryland that I connect with, and I'm like reaching out because I know some of them. One of my girls, Miss Six, she works in DC, and I'm like, wait a minute. But luckily, thank God, she was home. Shout out to Miss Six if she's listening. It's her birthday today. Whoop whoop. But I'm just saying that we don't. I think that's the problem and no disrespect to you, I think that's the problem when it comes to some of our people. We got to keep getting more information. Ain't no more information that we need. They done took over. They mad. They big mad, right? They're mad for whatever reason. Maybe they feel there's going to be some changes, right? They want their Trump guy all day long. That's who they want, and they're big mad. To the point they're showing you how privileged that they are. And I don't believe all white people or all Caucasians or all Trump supporters are like that. But the ones that we are seeing, there's no more investigation that we need to do. And we're always doing that, where we got to still keep finding out, get more information. No, that's what it is. It is.
And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, for people to not get more information or wait for more information. What I am saying is investigate for yourself. That's the thing that I'm trying to get people to see or to understand, because everything again that you see on the news is not necessarily exactly what they're saying it is. Like,
so how would you expect our brothers, because I don't even know you and I wouldn't want you to go down there just because you another brother. So how would they investigate with their own two eyes to see that? Because you're also putting yourself in harm's way. We don't got no monkey in that circus.
and again, I'm not encouraging anyone to put themselves in harm's way. But what I am saying is, if you are in that area, you get more of a feel of exactly what's going on. There's a vibe that's in the air. You just can't go by what you see off the TV. That's the only thing that I'm saying.
The audience, what should they do? If you should not be out there looking around, it's like, let me go on a quick tangent. It's like them horror movies. You see blood on the ground and you're still gonna go look. There's blood on the ground. So what do you describe for our audience members what they should do if you're saying don't believe everything on the news? Which I agree, you can't always believe everything on the news. Media stretches things, media condenses things. We do know that to be true. So I agree with you. But how else should they do at this point where there could be a safety issue for our other members? What's your suggestion?
Again, my suggestion. Go ahead, King.
I say for me, and I definitely agree, don't believe everything in the news, but the bigger problem for me is that we've seen this growing and growing and growing the whole time that he's been in office. We don't need to go down there and I don't think we need to go down there and get a feel for what's going on. And, even though the media stretches things and this, that, and the other, my thing is this: if it was us doing that very thing, the outcome will be very different. For the simple fact that these people are doing this, it shows a big disrespect to the country. It shows a big disrespect for democracy. It shows the world that the American democracy experiment is really flawed, and I'll just be blunt, very fucked up. It also shows that these entitled people are not going to change, period. It also shows that people are fearful of a person who really does not have that much control over anything that much. So for me, it's more of a, let us step back and really look at what's going on. And regardless, you said you didn't vote, and I respect your reasons for not voting, but this right here shows how much voting is important, because these Republicans that are throwing objections to the count and all this, that, and the other, it's like, what are you objecting? What are you really objecting? The count, the election was not rigged. There was no falsities. There was no this. There was no that. There was no cover up. Nothing. This president has repeatedly lied. He has repeatedly stoked ignorance and all types of stuff. He's repeatedly, in my opinion, broke several laws. So at what point do we sit back and be like, you know what? There's nothing that we really need to investigate. We needed to sit back and say, this is messed up. Because had it been one of us in that type of position, saying and doing the things that he's doing, the outcome would be very, very different. And we all can recognize and know that.
Again, my thing is, like I said, you don't have to put yourself in harm's way, but you can get close enough to get an idea, excuse me, of what's going on. That may be a couple miles away, that may be 5 miles away. You just don't know. But again, the thing is, with me is, I'm not believing the BS that you're trying to sell me on this national news platform. I'm just not that type of dude. I'd rather see it for my own two eyes. Even if I can't be right there in the vicinity, at least I know what's going on for myself. I don't have to sell it to anybody else. And again, I'm not trying to sell that to anyone right now. It's your choice. This is so-called a free country, right? So if you don't want to go down there and see for yourself, that's fine. That's cool. But I'm saying, for a person like me, I have to put eyes on it myself in order for me to believe anything this country has to put out as far as news. That's all I got to say about that.
Now, where are you located?
Right now, I'm located in Florida.
Okay, so I'm sure, you may have some friends or colleagues, somebody that you know that's particularly in that area. And by being on this platform that you have, where you're reaching different people, that's a platform that you can utilize, where it's not about, going down to see. I mean, it's not just one news outlet. It's not fake news. It's all over on what is going on. And it is our duty as individuals to continue to protect our community and our allies. And by sharing, you should go and see or close. No way. Jose. Absolutely not. I have a friend, he has to go to work this evening, and he's just doing fitness things, and he doesn't want to, he's concerned about that. I'm concerned about all my friends that are down in that area. I used to live down in that area, and I just wouldn't want any of them in harm's way, or just going to work, maybe just minding a business, but they have to be in that particular area.
I get what you're saying, but again, my point being is, I'm not asking anyone. I'm not telling anyone. I'm saying, for me as an individual, that's the type of person I am. I want to see it for myself.
But you said there was ways that they can check, and I'm not disputing what you're saying, but I'm saying is, if you're giving someone another idea that there's another way to check, give some ideas on how they should be able to do that, because again, you have a platform where people are listening. That's all I'm saying. What are your suggestions?
What else I can say besides?
I'm gonna jump in the comments right quick.
Put your feet down on the ground. That's the only thing I know to tell you. Because again,
and I have like I said, sons. I wouldn't advise my son.
We're in an age right now where everybody has a cell phone with a damn camera on it.
What does that mean? We've got slaughtered. We've got slaughtered, and with cameras and evidence, and that didn't even make a difference. Sad to say, but you are right. We do have cameras. That most people have cell phones, but what did that do for us? Even recording it didn't do anything for us, unfortunately.
Just like we're live right now, they can be live right there, wherever they're at.
So let me jump in on that. let me jump in on that. We got a comment from Cheryl, and she feels like this is a call for putting people in harm's way, which I agree. She's 15 minutes away from DC and not willing to take one for the team like that. Um, I definitely agree with that. And you know, a lot of the footage that I've seen today, because I've been watching it ever since it popped off. A lot of the footage is from people's cell phones. A lot of
Okay.
people are putting this on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and all this, that, and the other. So for me, that's enough. That's more than enough. Um, it was more than enough when Trump was down there talking about and even before today when he was talking about we're going to march to the Capitol. This is not this just did not happen today. He's been stoking this violent this stuff. So for me, I don't need to go down there and see what is what, because there are enough people posting their videos, their live videos. And even when I was watching the news, I watch because and I'm a big fan. I watch MSNBC. When they had their cameras rolling on people, people had their cell phones up. They was doing like this, that, and the other. I definitely don't need to be down there when the news is showing people on the window washer thing coming down the Capitol. I don't need to be down there to see that. Not only because I don't want to be near that, because I am a minority. That's a health hazard for me. That's a life hazard for me. I don't need to be a part of that. I'm not going to be a part of that. That's putting myself in danger. But again, I agree. The news paints whatever picture that they're going to paint. And you know, we grew up in an age where TV went off at midnight, so it was like we didn't have to deal with all of that. But news is running 24 hours a day. They're regurgitating the same stories every day. Each news channel is given their own perspective. But then the positive, well, the alternative to that is everybody is a news anchor, everybody is a news reporter. So when you have all of these cell phone videos of what's going on down there, you have a very clear view and a very clear understanding of what's going on. On top of that, we don't have to be down there to know what's going on, because we already know what's going on. We've known what's going on ever since this man has been elected. We've known what's been going on every time the previous times when he lost the election. We already knew where his head was at. And I don't fully blame him. I blame those who condone his nonsense. A lot of this stuff could have been prevented had people not been scared to go against him and his nonsense. That's just my point of view on that.
It's a touchy subject because, you know, you see what's going on in this world, and yes, we cannot put the blame on all on one person, but as we have seen through this year, he doesn't go out his way to stop it. Okay, you know, he doesn't really make announcements, you know, to tell his supporters, you know, not to do this. I mean, basically what he always says is, you know, what is it, stand by or something, or, you know, he's not going to concede. And, you know, nobody knows what the new election team, Biden and Harris, they're going to do or not do. I don't know about that. And I'm not even going to go there. Right. But everybody has a right to vote, those who do and who will. And this election shows that because of the voting that was done brings fear. It's just like when you speak up, right? You know, we are presented as, you know, angry Black woman or angry Black man because we're speaking up, whether we're right or we're wrong. That is how it happens. And you can see the fear here. The new president team has not even taken over, and it's already been fear since election already. I mean, Miss Adams, I believe in Georgia, she's had threats and stuff too because she was getting people out to vote. Why? Because our voices are supposed to be suppressed. We're supposed to be good little minions and not say anything. I mean, and it happens often. It's not even just elections. Probably happens on your workplace. May have happened sometimes just you just go into customer service. and you're shunned before the next person. So again, you can see that this is all about fear, and now it's criminal behavior. But when we were out protesting for Black lives, we were called thugs and everything else. Is the same energy happening now? And again, we don't have no monkey in this circus.
And that's my point that I'm making exactly, is this whole situation right now, because we're still partaking in something that wasn't even built for us. It's not even for us. So why in the hell are we still partaking in something that's not even made for us? That's my whole thing with this voting bullshit. If you really want to know the truth about it,
Yeah.
because we've been voting, we've been marching, we've been dying, we've been getting attacked by dogs, goddamn water. I mean, everything and anything they can throw at us just for us not to be a part of a system that wasn't built for us. That's crazy to me. But again, that's just my opinion.
I agree with you on that.
I could feel you on that.
But the thing about, when you say it's not built for us, it's not made for us. Originally, it wasn't made, okay. To go way, 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 way back in history, this system was not made for anyone unless you owned land. Period. It didn't matter if you were black, white, Indian. It didn't matter. This system was only made for those who owned land. And all of those who came from Europe to here did not own land. Then they reworded the Constitution in a manner in which it benefited all of those except us as color, us as Native Americans, and so on and so forth. The problem with the system today, we've come a long way. And that's because people march, because people took those bullets, they took them hoses, they took them dog bites, they took all of that, um, Negro barbecues, they took all of that. So we've come a long way. But in my opinion, the problem is that we don't have a culture or a background to where we galvanize and stick together and go forward. Again, if you didn't vote, that's your prerogative. I'm not going to knock you for that. But, as we had the conversation before, if we don't all get into it, we are not all going to prosper and benefit. It takes every one of us, no matter what they throw at us, because the generations before us, they fought for what they wanted and they got it. We have the right to vote. We have the right to vote because they fought for it. We have the right to eat in same restaurants as other people because they fought for it. We have the right to sit on anywhere we want to sit on a bus because they fought for it. They knew the value of sticking together. They stuck together and they fought the fight. That's why we have these rights, because they wasn't going to give them to us. So my thing is, if we stick together, we get back together and pick up where they left off, we can move forward and make a bigger imprint. You didn't get Barack Obama as the president because we said, oh, this is not for us. We don't have Kamala Harris as the future vice president because, oh, this don't belong to us. We don't have Cory Booker, Stacey Abrams, Muriel Bowser, John Lewis, and all of these other Black prominent political figures. We don't have those because they said this is not for us. We have that because they said, I'm going to fight. I'm going to put my hat in the ring. I have a dog in this fight. But what I need is for everyone to get behind me and move forward. Because again, if we're not moving in mass, we're not doing anything. You see how fast our neighborhoods fall apart. Why? Because they're not cohesive. We need that togetherness. We can say, oh, it ain't built for us, this, that, and other. But again, if we have people in the places that make a difference, we move forward. We have a dog in the fight, and you know this country is so happy to have old white men running it. That is part of the problem. We need younger people. It doesn't matter what your background is. We need younger people with fresh ideas and fresh um motives and this, that, and the other that benefit the collective. That's the problem. And we need to get that going, because if we don't get that going, where are we going?
Right.
If we this that's happening around DC, it should not be happening. But again, it takes everybody voting and everybody saying, you know what, it wasn't right then. It wasn't right for us back then, but we can make it to where this is for us, period. No
Right.
ifs, ands, or buts.
And it's very serious. I mean, look at it. I don't recall 4 years ago that the rideshare companies were giving out free rides. They wanted, if you had to do Lyft or Uber, they wanted you to get to the polls, no matter who you was voting for, right? They just wanted people there. And that does count for something. Do we still have a long way to go? Absolutely. But I agree with King that togetherness we do need, and not everybody is wanting to be on the front lines, right? Not everybody wants to be that speaker to be on the front lines, but we can support that speaker. We can support that voice. And when we do get in position, we need to do what's right. And I'm not saying looking out for favors and handouts, but we do need to do what's right once you are in position. And my last point for this portion that I'm going to say is that we always have to be even more qualified. Our credentials always have to be critiqued and blasted on the media, because we always have to do more, always more than the next person.
Again, my thing is we could sit up here and go back and forth until we're all blue in the face. You say we need direction, right? And I say we've been going in this direction for who knows how many years and still keep getting the same results. So what I'm saying is go in a new direction, our own goddamn direction. Because this direction that we're going in now, how many of us have to keep dying? How many of us have to keep being ridiculed, going through the same old, because we want to be a part of something just to say we're a part of it? When I keep saying, let's do our own, let's build our own. We don't have to be a part of anybody else's. Jewish people, they don't are a part of somebody else's. If they're not working for the Jewish people or the Indian people or the um, Colombian people or whatever it is. But we as a people, we always give our shit away for free and we don't get anything out of it. And this is a prime example of this. They can go up there and march and do where the hell they want to, and they're not thugs, they're not hooligans, they're none of that. They're just having a simple disagreement. But us, because we want to be a part of what they got going on, we still keep on riding this same goddamn train. It's stupid to me. I'm sorry. It makes no sense to me. Again, build our own.
I agree of building our own and our own sense of community, for sure. So a lot of things that I do is, advocacy in my community. I have two boys, one being 18 and one 8. And my 18-year-old was supposed to be in Baltimore at Morgan at this time, but he's remote. And so my advocacy doesn't really go to be belonging. My advocacy is to help engage and encourage my community. So we have a lot of healing to do, right? There's a lot of healing that needs to be done. And how I typically do that is just by being on the forefront. I do try to be at the seat of the table. My biggest engagement was education. And so that's where a lot of my focus was, of going to the Board of Education meetings, being uncensored and being at the seat of the table with administrations to get the tools and resources that our families need as surrounding education. So one of my thoughts is, if anybody is looking to do something more, like you're saying about our community, then get out and be in the community, whatever your initiative may be, or whatever you feel that is best. And I think that's one of the things how we move forward. It doesn't always necessarily mean protesting, but it can be something else that you're doing in the community that will not only encourage, but start some healing.
To jump in on that, when you say, why do we keep trying to be a part of something that's not for us? And, you talk about the Jewish, you talk about the immigrants that have come into the country in our time. We need to look at the fact that it seems like, and this may be in my opinion, and listeners, y'all could chime in on this. It seems like we are the only people or the only culture who keep saying and keep pushing this narrative that we don't need to be a part of that. We don't need to be a part of that. When the Jewish people come over, when the Colombians, the Mexicans, and all this, they don't say, oh, we don't need to be a part of that. It ain't for us. They come in and they do whatever they need to do to position themselves, and they grow and grow and grow. And when they grow and they have that imprint, nobody can say, oh, well, this ain't for you. They may get a lot of pushback. They may get a lot of nonsense. They may get a lot of BS, but they keep pushing forward. And it at the end of the day, our culture is the only culture that has this problem with fully sticking together, fully pushing forward, fully saying, you know what, we've been done wrong for 400 or however many years, but what we need to do is X, Y, and Z. Instead of us saying, hey, look what the Indians are doing. The Indians that come from, the Middle East. Look what the Africans are doing when they come over here. Because we know damn sure it wasn't for them. You look at the Jewish people who've come from persecution in Nazi Germany and places like that. If you look at any other racial group that has come to this country or has been in this country and has dealt with some of the same things that we've dealt with, you look at the Japanese who were put in internment camps during World War II.
And they all got paid.
But
each
but
family that was in that got paid.
Yes, they all been paid, but listen,
we've been paid too.
Tell you this.
How are we paid? I don't remember seeing no check.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Seeing a check though.
I'll give you my own personal experience. My grandmother, she inherited land because her parents were slaves, right? They worked for what they called a white man back in the day. But my grandmother did not understand the dynamic and the power that she had with the land. So what did my grandmother do? She sold that land many, many years ago. But she didn't understand the power that she had in owning the land. So yes, we have been given things, but sometimes we weren't even educated and even didn't know the power that we possess. Just like now, we possess so much power because we went out and vote. Think about it. During the election, they wanted the Black and the Hispanic vote. I mean, he even went to the Black churches. They wanted our vote so bad, and especially the Hispanic community. They wanted it so bad because, again, we do mean something. We do have power.
When was the last time you seen a Chinese person get shot on national TV? A Hispanic person, a Jewish person, a Indian person. When was the last time you seen that?
I can answer that about the Hispanic. There was a Hispanic in Bridgeport, Connecticut this year, Hartford, Connecticut this year. So Hispanic, yes. Chinese, I cannot say that. But yes, I have seen Hispanic and other minorities shot and killed. Yes.